The Outer Worlds is just one of those games, okay? It's just one of those games where as soon as you hit the title screen for the first time, you're already more than prepared to let it consume your entire being. A ship hurtling through space comes into view. The title in big yellow letters fills the screen and the music just fucking swells like it's having an anaphylactic reaction. It's beautiful. And there's something about it that just lets you know right away you're about to embark on an adventure. And it's gonna be sick. Now, I don't want to spoil anything because I strongly encourage you to play this game for yourself, and I strongly encourage you to play it if you were a fan of Fallout New Vegas, which was also made by Obsidian. But anyway, The Outer Worlds just dumps you into a world or a solar system full of what I like to call the 3 C's. Corruption, conspiracies, and corporations. To put it simply, you're a human from Earth who's been cryogenically frozen and shot into space with a bunch of other fellow Earthmates, en route to inhabit a variety of other off-world colonies. Now, you might be thinking, why would we be doing that exactly? Why would we be sending a few 100,000 cryogenically frozen people into space on a voyage that might take decades to complete? And the answer is actually quite simple. Hey guys, this is Isaiah from a day in the future of when this video was originally recorded, and I'm just here to tell you that I'm dumb. My brain is tiny, and I've made a little bit of a mistake. You see, it turns out I actually did leave in quite a significant contextual spoiler that I didn't realize was a spoiler until now. So if you absolutely do not care about spoilers at all, feel free to move on from this point as normal. But if you do care about spoilers like the majority of us do, please, for the love of all things holy, skip to the timestamp that is on screen now. Do you see it? It's right there, right in the middle of the screen. Head to that point in the video if you absolutely do not want any spoilers. I'm going to give another 5 or so seconds just to be absolutely sure. I apologize for the interruption, and my brain is little. Why would we be sending a few 100,000 cryogenically frozen people into space on a voyage that might take decades to complete? And the answer is actually quite simple. We fucked up. Like, really bad. Earth is done. It's gone. We couldn't put our differences aside as a species. We used our opposable thumbs and big boy brains to make weapons of mass destruction, and the government just kind of used them to wage a devastating and apocalyptic war that made the Earth a pretty really not dope place to live anymore. So the couple 100,000 Earthlings, including you, are hurtling through space on your way to a part of the universe known as the Halcyon Colony. Sick name, pretty shit place to be though. See, almost every planet and everything is controlled very heavy-handedly by all these corporations. The corporations are the government now. They run things. Everything that occurs within the colony must be profitable to them, or it isn't. As in, if you isn't profitable, you isn't alive. And you know what really isn't profitable to the leaders of these corporations? That's right, you guessed it, a ship full of people from Earth that need to be carefully revived after being frozen for way too long. You see, if you try to unfreeze someone that's been in a cryogenic state for way too long, they're going to experience a little something called explosive cell death. And don't worry, it is absolutely as painful as it sounds. And due to the fact that the ship's arrival to the colony was severely delayed due to a malfunction, the colonists are gonna pop like an overcooked microwave dinner if you just try to bring them back to their regular, warm-blooded selves without some seriously careful testing and analysis. Now you're probably thinking, again, Isaiah, you said this would be a simple explanation. How exactly do we, the player, get involved in all of this when we're just a frozen hunk of flesh sitting in a glorified mini fridge? Well, Phineas Wells. Great dude, great scientist, doesn't like how selfish, controlling, and cutthroat the corporations are. He also doesn't like the idea of the corporations lying to everyone about Earth's colonists who are supposed to arrive by now. So he's like, okay, epic. I will go and find a way to revive those colonists without them turning into stew, and yeah, I mean, we might lose a couple in the process, but I am pretty confident the majority can be saved. But the corporations are like, whoa, hey, relax, homie. That costs money. And, you know, like, we kind of love money. So, no. But Phineas is like, yes. And that is exactly where you come in. Phineas manages to find a way to revive you, a random colonist from Earth, and bada bing, bada boom, please save the universe. Now, again, you're probably thinking, that was a pretty drawn out explanation for a spoiler-free video, but I assure you, that is only how you end up where you need to be. The rest is completely up to you. And Obsidian does a really good job of that, and I really like what they did, so please allow me to tell you why. Choice. Real choice. Pretty much in everything you do. Now that's probably said in literally every other video that speaks about this game, but you really are just kind of booted into the game like, okay buddy, you have fun now, destroy the universe for all I care, fuck you, and it's great. I love that. I mean, obviously there are certain limits to that, but I was just so glad to see that it wasn't one, an illusion of choice that ultimately leads to the same outcome, or two, an A or B situation where you're either David, the super nice guy who was only there to be heroic and good looking, or Kyle, the really bad dude who's just gonna shoot you after every line of dialogue. No, it isn't like that at all. I mean, I played as the pretty typical hero who's just out to do the right thing, but that didn't mean I could only be a David. I mean, I was definitely playing as a David for sure, but if I was playing as a David, I was definitely more of a David than a David. You know what I mean? I mean, with dialogue options like this, how could you not be? Full customization of your skill set as with most RPGs, but I really enjoyed the way that they set this all up. Being proficient in 2 or 3 skills felt really good because each base skill had a bunch of sub-skills that could be improved once you hit a certain point. So my character, David, was very good with ranged weapons and was a great conversationalist. Very persuasive, very good at talking himself out of tough situations, has a podcast, but I didn't want him to be untruthful and lie his way through every obstacle. No, I didn't want David to threaten people with violence. That's whack. I wanted David to be convincing, but not dishonest and fucking terrifying, so thankfully, the persuade sub-skill under the speech base skill let me further customize exactly what areas of conversation I was best in. The skills give beneficial bonuses that make a noticeable difference, and the skills are fun to work for as some missions, most notably side missions, require you to be big brain or big bicep to complete certain objectives. It gives you more of a purpose and incentive to experiment with other skills beyond just wanting to try them for the sake of it. Oh, you want to get through this door to get whatever items are inside, but you're just a big bozo with max strength and an IQ about as high as a DEA agent? Yeah, well, tough shit. Basically, what all of this boils down to is that almost everything to do with the Outer Worlds makes you feel involved. The combat makes you feel involved by giving you so much to tweak and mess around with, which compensates for the lack of variety when it comes to the actual weapons, and following both the main narrative and side stories makes you feel involved by giving you so many different branching paths and possibilities, which compensates for the pretty short length of the main quest line. I really don't think there was anything in the Outer Worlds that I straight out disliked, besides the difficulty. The difficulty in this game was a weird one, and I felt like it had it right for the first few hours of the game, but beyond that, it confused me. Now trust me when I say this is absolutely not in any way me trying to flex my elite gaming abilities, because I am unbelievably horrible at games. It's an ailment I've had to live with, and I have slowly come to terms with it within myself, but much like the 5th and 26th letters of the alphabet, this game was way too easy. At a certain point, it had become so easy that it did kind of dampen my enjoyment to an extent. And honestly, I think I got to the point of it being way too easy quite late, but only because I hadn't really utilized the features that turn you into an unstoppable force of unprecedented power until I finished the main quest line. And I'm grateful for that previous ignorance, because it only really takes a few steps that are accessible pretty much right away for you to 360 barrel roll, backflip, jump skip, one hit pretty much every enemy in the game. But I feel like if the enemies scaled to your level a little bit rather than just having a cap based on what area you're in, the challenge would be pretty welcome, especially to the people doing a lot of the side content after beefing up their character in the late game. Overall, I absolutely despised every second of playing this game, and I wholeheartedly regret ever purchasing it, is what someone who doesn't like RPGs without too much difficulty might say upon playing this. But me personally, I enjoy RPGs, especially ones that make me feel like my decisions have an impact, that my skills have a purpose, and that my place in the game's world is important. And The Outer Worlds did an excellent job of that. I haven't enjoyed an RPG this much in a really long time. So I'm not gonna leave a completely subjective score for this game because that number would only ever really be truly accurate to my exact tastes and preferences. But I tell you what, if you enjoy a game with high replayability, a variety of different environments, and full customization—
8 out of 10.
Wait, what?
8 out of 10.
Wait, what do you mean 8 out of 10?
That's the score that you had in your head. 8 out of 10.
What? No, scores are subjective. That's why I wasn't going to include one. Who are you, anyway?
Oh, I'm just the version of you who isn't afraid to put out a solid score. 8 out of 10.
No, not 8 out of 10. What does the number even matter anyway? I already said what I thought about the game. Surely that should override what the score...
No, the score definitely matters. I just thought I'd pop in to tell you that I didn't think you were going to get so offended and be so sensitive about it.